Pro players have made some serious money from gaming, like we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. But if you look at their setups, you'd probably think otherwise, because instead of going for those aesthetic, over-the-top streamer setups that, yeah, look great with all the RGB lights and multiple monitors, pros actually do the complete opposite. They don't care how their setup looks, they only care about how it performs. That's where the differences between casual and competitive really start to show. On one side, you've got the flashy setups that are made to look really nice and just visually pleasing. On the other, the competitive setups, you can see that these are very basic, stripped down and just built purely for better gameplay. With a setup like this, you've barely got any sort of distraction and you've basically only spent money on the essentials. When it comes to pro players spending their money, there's always a pattern. There's usually a clear order in what they prioritize, starting with number 1, the PC. This is where the majority of their budget goes into. Over the years, I've covered a lot of pro player setups over on my website, gamesettings.com, and trust me on this one, they always spend a lot on their PCs. Inside, you'll find the latest and greatest CPU and GPU, and those things are not cheap. Just take a look at the price of the RTX 5090 right now. Yep, it is insanely high, but that's the price you have to pay for a powerful PC that will guarantee high FPS and low latency. So really, it's in every pro's best interest to invest in themselves and stay ahead of the rest. Next comes the display, the monitor at number 2, and this one's huge for performance. Right now, you can guarantee that every pro is using at least 240Hz on their display. Yeah, you could argue there is high refresh rates out there, like 500 or even 600Hz ones now, but in games like Fortnite, especially at endgame, the game doesn't even reach that many frames. For that reason, most of them stick at 240 or at the max 360. Some of those are affordable, but you'll see most pros gravitate towards Zowie, the same monitors that were used at the FNCS Global's LAN event. What's really special about these monitors is they don't just have high refresh rates, they've also got motion clarity features like DIAC that actually make tracking and reacting much easier than a standard 240Hz monitor. Yes, it will cost you a little bit more, but you can't deny that an edge like that can genuinely make the difference. After that though, coming in at number 3, we've got the mouse and keyboard. Yes, pros like to spend a lot of money on making their inputs faster. When it comes to gaming mice, you'll see that mostly all of them are using a wireless and lightweight mouse. Not only is having a lighter mouse a lot more easier to control, but having it wireless makes it all the more better, as you don't have that cable snagging on anything that'll slow you down. Then when it comes to keyboards, it's all about the quicker switches, the lowest actuation point, and the smaller layouts to free out more mouse space. A lot of pros tend to be at the 0.1 actuation, which is incredibly fast. They also like the super quick switches from Wu-Tang and SteelSeries, and the smaller form factors are incredibly popular. You'll see either the 10 key less, where the number pad is removed, or you'll see the 60 form, which just makes the keyboard 60%. Oh, and some even use rapid trigger to shave off a few extra milliseconds between edits. After that though, for the rest of the setup, so the mouse pad, the headset, the desk, and even the chair, from all the setups I've seen, this is usually where they spend the least. They really just want something comfortable that'll last them through the long hours of grinding. If we take Peterbot for example, he could easily buy the Herman Miller with how much money he has in prize money, but instead he's sitting on a $50 office chair from Walmart. It's also the same story with his desk. He could, if he really wanted to, buy a super flashy one, but instead he opted for a much cheaper desk that doesn't have all the fancy LEDs. It's just basic, it's cheap, and it works. Because for the pros, it's not about spending more money, it's about spending smart. Before comp setups even existed, it wasn't always like this. I remember around 5 years ago, everyone wanted a gaming setup that looked really nice. Their PCs would be full with RGB lights, they would have them everywhere all around the desk, they would even have those like foam wall panels everywhere. The whole dream of having a gaming setup back then was to make it aesthetically pleasing. It just had to look cool. But fast forward to now, over time, that has completely shifted. As Fortnite and other competitive games have evolved, the players started realizing that none of this stuff, like extra stuff, helps you perform better. If anything, it's just more distractions, more lights, more clutter, more things to think about. When you're playing tournaments where one mistake can cost you thousands of dollars, like we literally see in Cash Cups, any sort of distraction is the last thing you want. That's why we've seen a new wave of pro players starting to strip out their setups completely. You'll see all over Twitter, all over Reddit, that these comp setups are popping up over and over again. You'll normally find they have one monitor or maybe two. They've got no LEDs or RGB, no second PC for streaming, just the essentials, a big desk, a big mouse pad, hopefully a monitor higher than 60 Hz, and a beast gaming PC that's the best one they can get for their money. What's even more interesting about all these setups too is the fact they're actually very similar to what you'll play on at LAN, which is how these sort of setups even came about in the first place. If you look at any LAN setup over the past 5 years, you'll notice they pretty much look the same as these comp setups. Taking that LAN environment and setting it up very similarly at home is a very smart way to do it, as opposed to setting up like a really nice looking setup with 3 monitors, LEDs everywhere, you know, the sort of setups you've seen. Instead of doing all of that, they've been purely focused on replicating that LAN environment, the same monitor height, the same sort of desk spacing, and the same single monitor setup. It's all been done intentionally to make themselves more comfortable when it does truly matter. That right there is the real reason why these comp setups look very boring, or rather ugly. They're not built to impress anyone, they're pretty much built to win and help the player perform even better. Oh, as a bonus, they'll also save a lot of money on a setup like this because of how minimal it is. And honestly, that's money you can put where it actually matters, like into your gaming PC. Every pound or dollar you waste on an extra monitor that you really don't need can be better spent on having a better CPU or better GPU, which will in turn massively boost your FPS and make your game run a lot smoother. So making your PC specs a priority is a very smart thing to do. If you are considering building your own comp setup, you just need to think of it like this. Don't worry too much on how it actually looks, think more of how it performs. But yeah, if you want to see what the top pro players are using right now, from their mice to their monitors to their gaming PC specs, you can check out gamesettings.com. Before you do go though, feel free to check out any of my other videos that are on screen right now.